Yeah, exciting week for our football program and really for college football. It's a really good football team coming to Faurot Field, the Big 12 champions. Obviously, very grateful for our fans and selling out. This ought to be a really great environment and really what college football is all about on Saturday. Great weather, a lot of people, and two quality football teams battling it out with a lot of bragging rights on the line. A lot of respect for Kansas State and their coaching staff and players. I think Coach Kleiman's done an outstanding job. His track record speaks for itself with his national championship pedigree that has obviously translated over to big time results at Kansas State. I think his offensive coordinator, I think he calls him CK, does a tremendous job. I think they keep defenses off balance. They balance run and pass. He's adapted his offense to his quarterback's strengths, plays with multiple personnels, really does a really good job of identifying his team's strengths and attacking defense's weaknesses. I think their defensive staff does a really nice job. They have a lot of really good players on the defensive side of the ball. They have a havoc scheme with their odd stack defense. They have become more multiple in what they do. They've showed a lot of variety in what they do, and I think defensively they have a lot of really good players. I know they lost the defensive end from last year, but you wouldn't know it on tape with their addition of Khalid Duke as the rush defensive end. I think he's got 4 sacks on the season. Um, they have 2 other defensive ends who played quite a bit against us last year and played well. Their middle linebacker, Daniel Green's back and played really well against us last year, forced an interception. Austin Moore has been playing for a long time, a lot of tackles, very, very good player. Kobe Savage into the boundary at safety. He's one of the better safeties in the country. So defensively, they've got a lot of really good players. I think their strength of their team starts with their offensive line. They've got 5 returning starters. I know they have one player who's working his way back from injury. I anticipate he'll play against us. Done a really nice job replacing the running back production with their 2 transfers, and then I really think the guy that makes their football team go right now is Phillip Brooks, who we know all too well from his special teams return for a touchdown against us. But he's done an outstanding job for him at wide receivers, being their go-to guy. I think their team is really defined by their special teams, a tradition that's been carried over since Bill Snyder, but they're really good on special teams. They play extremely hard. They're very sound, but even more than being sound, they create explosive plays on special teams. And really, it was the turning point in our game last year. Their punt return for a touchdown really proved to be something that we weren't able to withstand. So our team has to focus on what we can improve on this week, and there's plenty of things from the tape that we want to focus on improving. And we're going to have to do our job at a high level anytime you're taking on a defending conference champion in a team that's ranked in the top 20. You're going to have to play your best ball. So we got our work cut out for us, and we worked on that preparation beginning yesterday, and look forward to another Toughness Tuesday today. So with that, I'll open up for any questions we might have.
You look at have had a chance to look at your offensive line. Are you seeing more, larger problems or smaller fixes? What are you seeing there coming out of Saturday?
Yeah, I think there's both. I think we've got to create competition at the right guard position and see if we can improve at that spot. There's some issues there that got to continue to be addressed. I think we were disappointed with the first drive in the red zone that we had a holding penalty, a false start, and then a sack, 3 plays in a row right there that really needs to get off the tape. The sack, Javon's anticipating a twist stunt between the 3 technique and the defensive end, and you got to take care of first things first, which is blocking your guy. So I think that part of it is correctable. The competition part is things that we have to continue to focus on in our program.
Coach, as far as the run game, the running backs average 2.4 yards per carry. What does the offensive line need to do in the run game to kind of make that better versus the defense?
I didn't go back and look at the run game necessarily and think it was a negative because of the sacks are factored into it and the negative yardage plays are factored into it. I think we have to get Nate Pete more involved. I think when we were running our tempo plays, I think Nate was doing a really good job being explosive there, and even Cody in the 4-minute drive right there had two critical runs that ran out the clock. But I think we have to just continue to identify the boxes that we can run into, and diversify our run game a little bit.
Defense, this past weekend, 12 tackles for loss. What's the biggest key for that front and attacking, a strong defensive line, like the offensive line, like Kansas State?
Yeah, we had, for a Havoc defense, we had 12 TFLs and 4 sacks, which was positives. And I think that's a trademark of what Coach Baker's style defense do. The negatives were they were 50% on third down against us and 2 for 3 on fourth down. So we got to get them into third down, but we got to get ourselves off the field, and that's got to be a point of emphasis this week.
You mentioned getting Theo Reese more involved, after what you saw from him on Saturday. What do you feel like he really brought to the field on Saturday, and how do you go about creating more opportunities for him?
Yeah, I think Theo has been a guy that has proven himself in fall camp in one-on-one matchups, and obviously did that down in the red zone. Creating a contested catch on a high ball and making sure he secured it. I thought he did a really nice job too on the third down late in the game. We just have to identify more opportunities, and we got to be looking his way.
Traditionally, the deeper into the season you get, the tougher it gets maybe to get more guys snaps and experience just because of game situations. Are you satisfied with the number of guys you've been able to play the first 2 games, or would you like to have maybe had a chance to get some more guys on the field?
We do our red shirt tracker, so to speak, or developmental tracker, so to speak, and have restructured our practice format so that on Mondays we can get guys quality reps that maybe didn't get as many reps in the game. So I don't feel like we're behind there. I do think, there's some situations where we would have liked to get some other guys some plays, or a series here or a series there, but I don't feel like they're behind. I feel like we know who they are and what they're going to be able to do when their opportunity's called. And it's a long season, 2 games in, especially with the way the new redshirt rule is. You can play 4 games plus a bowl game. It doesn't matter when. It's just they're going to have their opportunities. And quite honestly, I think one thing that gets you in trouble is when you play your guys early, and then you have to make that decision late in the season when you're in conference play and guys are dinged up. Like, then you've got to force yourself into some. Dalen Carnell ended up playing in the bowl game his true freshman year. Actually, I don't think he played in the bowl game. We weren't able to play him in the bowl game to save his red shirt. So you would rather it be more later when they what the situation is, rather than playing the hypothetical. I feel like we have a pretty good nod on who the guys are that we anticipate playing this year, and those guys are going to continue to show up on special teams, and when their opportunity's called, they'll be ready to play in the game. I think special teams prepares you for your moment on offense or defense, your confidence level.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
What has Niles done as you've seen this path, and he kind of comes full circle back at the SEC, has the kind of game that he had Saturday. What have you seen him do here to put himself in a position to have a game like that?
Yeah, Niles is a very serious young man who's focused on what he can control. And, I think when these guys transfer in as this is their final year, much like DJ Coleman did last year, I think there's a seriousness to their approach. No nonsense, take care of your body, make sure you're in rehab, make sure you're watching extra tape. And that's just been Niles' approach. He's every day always competing. I think he's got an outstanding edge coach in Kevin Peoples that gets the most out of his guys and prepares those guys for the way they have to attack the offensive line, and I think he's really taken advantage of it.
Coach, piggyback off that, how do you think the defensive end position has been doing overall? That seemed to be like one of the questions in the offseason, but it seems like they're playing well to start the season.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That was a position that we were concerned with, but they've been able to create the pass rush that we need to. I think there was a couple incidences in the game where we lost contain in the run game, which was a little bit surprising. But they're a work in progress, and that really had more to do with us creating an odd front than it did being a 4-down front structure. So really proud of those guys. Obviously, they got to continue to work to improve. We're never satisfied with where we're at. There's always room for improvement with really everybody on our team, and that's the name of the game. I think sometimes you get caught up in trying to live up to these unfair expectations. The reality of it is you got to live up to execution. Like, what's your execution level, and how do you get better every week? And if you can do that, then you can make improvements as a team. And that's, for our team, what we're trying to do is there were a lot of really positive things that happened in that football game, and there were opportunities missed for us to play better and reflect better on the score. But at the end of the day, we won, so now we got to go back and say, okay, where did we miss those opportunities, and how do we not let that happen in the future?
Eli, Mookie Cooper finished with 0 catches on Saturday. What are the keys to maybe spreading the ball out more and getting it to some of the other playmakers besides just Luther?
Yeah, I think that's something that we got to look at as an offensive staff. I don't know that there's keys to it. I think it's just got to spread the ball out more, and I think we got to create more opportunities. I think we only had 19 pass attempts, so the play doesn't care who makes it. Like, it's not like we're not trying to necessarily get through our progressions or not find him. He was targeted. I know for sure once we had to move him into the slot because of Mekhi Miller's injury in the first half, which is not normally his natural position, but he did a nice job. I think the thing about Mookie that's so good for us is his position flexibility. He's a senior who knows all 4 positions and can play on any of them at a drop of a hat. But he is an explosive player, and we have to get the ball in his hand.
You mentioned on Saturday just the need to try and create some more explosive plays. What have you identified sort of from the first couple of games that's maybe holding the team back on that front?
Yeah, it's largely a combination of issues, from some protection issues, misread by the quarterback, maybe a misroute, maybe not being on the same time. I think we had an opportunity in the first quarter. The ball could have been brought a little bit further to the field or thrown further, or Luther can make the catch. I think all 3 of those could have created an explosive play right there. We had a couple of shots dialed up where we didn't get the protection that we needed. So it's a combination, and again, 19 opportunities is not enough to create explosive plays.
It was a missed extra point on Saturday. What kind of went wrong on that play from what you guys saw?
A lot went wrong. Our holder double clutched the hold, which I think was the number one issue. We had penetration on the right side, but I think if we have a clean hold, it's a non-factor.
You talked about this a little in the offseason, but it was all hypothetical. So I'm curious, 2 games in, what's the dynamic like with Kirby, and what input you have in that process? I mean, I know you're the head coach,
Yeah.
so you're involved in it, but how's that worked through 2 games as far as calling plays and all that?
Yeah, I mean, Kirby calls the plays. Obviously, when it comes to in between series or making suggestions, we all have an open traffic and talk through what we're seeing and what do we have to improve, how can we attack them. Pretty standard, honestly, from what it's what I've been involved in when I was an offensive coordinator and somebody else was the head coach. I think we just have to gain more confidence in our process and in what we're doing, and cut it loose.
Coach, in terms of the O-line going forward, what do you want to see from the more experienced guys like Javon and Xavier on that left side?
Yeah, those guys have been incredibly consistent. Their pad level's been really good. I think they do their job at a high level. I think, obviously the only negative was the sack on Javon. And again, that's more of a product of over analyzing a situation than making a big result. So I don't make too much of that. I think that's a learning point. I was really proud, still have been really proud of Connor, but I was really proud. I thought Armand showed a lot of growth from week 1 to week 2, not only in his fundamentals, but in his stance and his mentality and his execution. And so I think we're growing. We just got to get all 5 of us on the same page, competing together. I 5 acting as one, which is what an offensive line has to do.
Coach, who are some of those guys that you would like to, provide some competition at right guard?
Yeah, Marcellus Johnson's going to get an opportunity there. We're going to continue to get Big Show better, and he got a lot of reps at right guard yesterday in the Young Guns opportunity, and so EJ's still a work in progress and is continuing to compete. So really, it'd be those 4 guys. And I don't know if y'all know who Big Show is. That's Logan Riker. Yeah, sorry.
Chad Bailey dressed on Saturday. How's
Yeah.
his progression coming along?
Yeah, Chad, we've been working him back into individual. He got individual on Thursday, Friday. We thought it would be good for him to go through the pregame routine and be on the sidelines with us and go through that in the game atmosphere. Rest day yesterday, rest day Sunday, practice yesterday, and he'll be a full participant in practice today, and we'll just see where he's at as we continue to build. I mean, technically it's supposed to be a 21-day. We're a little bit ahead of that, and maybe we're being a little bit too optimistic, but he feels good, and he's going to go out there and test it out today, and we'll never put our players in jeopardy, but if he's ready, then we'll see if he can give us a couple of series.
Coach, what do you think are the keys to the game to stop this K-State offense and come out with a win?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of keys. Obviously, to me, it always is going to start with defending the run. We're going to have to do a better job than we did last year defending the run. We put our defense in a lot of bad situations in last year's game, but we got to limit the explosive plays in the run game. I think their quarterback is really good. He's got a natural feel for where to place the ball. He's incredibly accurate, so we're going to have to defend him in the pass game. And then, I think number 8 is a special player at wide receiver. I mean, there's no doubt he's their kick returner, punt returner, and before half they hit him on an end cut that his yards after catch, because he is such a good returner, is really natural for him. So, I end up being really the difference in the game for them. I mean, it was 14-10. Troy had all the momentum, and they're able to get their ball to Phillip, and he's able to make a big time play. So, we're going to have to limit him too.
With the understanding every game is a big game and the next game is the biggest one, do you get any sense from any guys that circling this one at all because of what happened last year?
I think our guys are excited to play.
How big are games like this for college football? These regional games, they're non-cons now, physical alignment, but to play, and you got a few of them coming up on your schedule.
I mean, I don't think there's anything better than college football regional rivalries and fan bases that share a city that have bragging rights and high school coaches. And I mean, Phillip is from Lee Summit West. I mean, and last year the defensive end was from the Kansas City area. So you're talking about guys who grew up watching both teams, and I think it means a lot. Obviously, there'll be the water cooler conversation. There'll be the people this summer flying their flags at the lakes and talking trash. And I mean, I think that's what makes college football so much fun, is the bragging rights. Obviously, we're going to have an unbelievable atmosphere here. I'm excited to see what a sold-out Faurot Field looks like. I know 11 a.m. is a little bit early to be too excited, but we'll make do. Yeah, I mean, I've been adamant about regional rivalries since I've been here, I think. So, Gabe, that beard is getting thick, man. Is everything all right? You want to talk about it? It's pretty gray too, man.
I'm trying not to shave it off.
Why not?
Busy guy. 35 seconds.
I know. I mean, with that logger hat and the gray beard, it looks like you're like either a logger, like a literal logger, or a beer expert now. You will? Yeah. Doesn't surprise me. The weather's kind of turned, man. It was a little bit chilly this morning. It's kind of getting football season, huh? Thank you all.